So just like, so I think you're both right. If he has morals and ethics, then of course this quality of life goes down. But then you look at
slept with underage kids. There's no morals or ethics. That went out the window, boys.
That? How do you know?
He's in the files.
I
He's
didn't know he
best
did
friends
that.
with Epstein.
Well, hold on.
Brian, best friends with Epstein. There's more communication between him and Epstein than anybody else. Best friends. There's selfies of them, countless selfies together at his house, all this stuff.
Unfucking real.
You guys have got to get on board.
The latest episode of The Fighter and the Kid proves something fascinating. You would have thought Bryan Callen learned his lesson. Last week he caught serious backlash for what many called his worst take on the Epstein situation. He admitted he hadn't researched enough. He acknowledged he should have been clearer. It looked like a reset. And yet, here we are again. Callen is still trying to play Nuance police while Brendan Schaub is charging forward like a man who's decided he's done giving anyone the benefit of the doubt. And strangely enough, it's working. This week's episode centers once again around the Epstein files. Millions of pages, horrifying allegations, systemic protection of powerful people. Schaub opens with visible anger. He calls it horrendous. He calls it evil. He frames it as proof that elites protect their own. Callen, meanwhile, can't help himself. Instead of simply condemning the individuals implicated, he zooms out. He tries to understand the mechanics of the cover-up.
I want to know, why are we not hearing more about like I said, the people? Who was the one who was able to say with the power, who had the power to tell the Florida Police Department to stand down or give him the sweetheart plea deal? And who had the power to tell the press, you can't talk about this? Like, that's crazy power, right? I don't understand how anybody could cover for this guy.
Because they're you're talking about the most powerful politicians in the fucking world. But then also, remember.
No, but I'm talking about the investigation.
I know, yeah, I know.
Like, you don't even know that
that's a different side of it. I'm with
yeah.
you, but I'm saying as far as the public getting familiar with this,
yeah.
Well, who owns the networks? Who owns CNN? Who owns Fox? Who owns these
Powerful
ABC?
People. Yeah,
these people who are also.
Well, they play
and now this is where it gets weird. Now, some of those people, it's a lot of underage and there's innocent kids and sex trafficking. That's one fucking horrible dark side. Some of the dark side is just very powerful dudes going to the island or going to New York and fucking young models. Maybe they're 21, 20, they're of age, but they're married with kids.
Yeah.
So they're like, whoa, hold on.
Right,
hold on.
Yeah.
No. All right, let me make some calls because I don't want to blow up my marriage. Lose half my shit.
My reputation.
Also, I'm running again this year. That's
stuff.
what it is.
Where Callen sees systems, Schaub sees monsters. When Callen starts drifting into abstract institutional theory, Schaub pulls him back to earth. He's less interested in how the machine works and more interested in who should be exposed.
Most people are so fired up about this. Like, I didn't realize how fired up people were until I got all the comments on YouTube, where I was like, I'm saying he's a monster. I don't mean, but I think people thought I was making excuses for this fucking crazy motherfucker, which I'm of course not. Mm-hmm. But I think also people hate it so much because they feel like the elite don't play by the same rules, get away with everything, are hypocrites, and the rest of us are not. By the way, nobody makes money anymore. You ever try saving money?
Oh, I know.
Try saving money. Like, nobody can save money.
That same government that's protecting all these horrible pedophiles and these evil people, if you miss your tax payment, they're throwing you in prison or they're taking your property.
Yeah, but also they've also rigged the economic system.
All of it. Yeah. All of it.
So you're not playing by the market. They're just rigging the system and making like literally $300 million.
But here's the thing, and Americans are just putting up with it. What if all of a sudden...
I don't think Americans are anymore. I think that's why...
What are you going to do?
Well, Pam Bondi
my thing is with all this tax fraud, all this shit, all that stuff in Minneapolis, now they're going to California, they're discovering stuff there.
Yeah.
He can go to each state and do it.
Yeah.
We know all the fraud going on, all this horrible shit. What if Americans went, no, hold on. Hold the fuck up. We're not paying taxes.
Schaub sounds morally clear. Callen sounds cautious. And in 2026, clarity wins. You'd think after last week's backlash, Callen would simplify his stance. Instead, he's doubling down on nuance. Not defending Epstein, he's clear that Epstein is a monster, but still reluctant to name names aggressively. still hesitant to treat every figure in the files as irredeemable without parsing context. That instinct to parse is what gets him into trouble, because parsing sounds like softening.
Yeah, it's all dark, man. It's all dark.
What are the new findings? So what are the new findings? So Trump warned about Epstein
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
And him and Elon were playing a different game.
Trump really said he had no knowledge of Epstein's sex crimes. He has also claimed that he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago after he found out the financier was poaching spa club employees. Okay. Oval Office any suspicion of Epstein molesting underage women. Trump said, no, I had no idea. I haven't spoken to him in many, many years. But he did warn about.
He called the cops, Brian. He called the authorities on him 20 years ago.
Whoa. Wow. Man, people can't hide from this thing. This is like, it's going to follow there must be the most powerful people in the world quaking in their boots right now.
I don't know.
I mean,
because they were able to hide JFK and there's so many people involved. And remember,
yeah, but you got 3 million
but also
more.
you were alive back then. You were what, in your 20s when JFK got assassinated. People forget. The public wasn't like, okay, Harvey Lee Oswald did it. That makes sense. They were super upset. Nobody bought it back then.
Yeah.
They were up in arms about it. Like, no, hold the fuck up. Warren Report, the public was like, get the fuck out of here.
The guy once mocked as impulsive now looks like the one with political instinct. The guy accused of lacking depth is the one insisting on moral lines. And what makes this even more interesting is that Schaub isn't playing this for laughs. He's not doing bits, he's not riffing, he's angry. He sounds like a man who feels betrayed by institutions he once trusted. Meanwhile, Callen sounds like someone who still believes institutions can be understood rationally. That's the real contrast. It's not just outrage versus nuance, it's cynicism versus analysis. Public sentiment around Schaub is undeniably shifting, not because he suddenly became brilliant, but because in this specific moment, he's aligned with how people feel.
At the end of the day, you can't get away with it.
Maybe
there will always be. Because
right now they're getting away with it. Yeah,
I don't know, they are.
Yeah,
look at England.
Their lives are changing.
Keir Starmer may have to step down.
For appointing. You're talking about England. In America, there's been nothing. There's nothing.
Well, for now, there has been nothing. But I bet you Steve Bannon is hiding. I bet you, people, when you start to see this stuff.
But what's going to happen is, so Steve Bannon has to go into hiding. He got away with it.
Got away with it. Got away with it.
There's no prison time. There's nothing.
Yeah, but your whole life is under scrutiny.
So I think you're both right. If he has morals and ethics, then of course this quality of life goes down. But then you look at
slept with underage kids. There's no morals or ethics. That went out the window, boys.
That? How do you know?
He's in the files.
I didn't know he did
friends
that.
with Epstein.
Well, hold on.
Brian, best friends with Epstein. There's more communication between him and Epstein than anybody else. Best friends. There's selfies of them, countless selfies together at his house, all this stuff.
Unfucking real.
You guys have got to get on board. It's not, he was just helping in the PR move.
I just said he's finished. I said he's done. I don't need to even know that.
I'm saying that's why we're upset. That's why we're upset.
What do you
mean? There's going to be no lawsuit. There's no criminal. There's nothing.
You can't
He goes to his mansion. He's sleeping in his mansion tonight.
You can't prosecute somebody for being friends with scumbags, right? You can't. I
don't know how much evidence you fucking. Hopefully they find hardcore evidence.
That's not how our justice system works. You have to have evidence.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully they go through more files and there's actually hardcore evidence.
Have they released the next 3 million files?
Brendan Schaub, once public enemy number one, is slowly turning the tide amongst his haters. Not by being perfect, but by standing firm while his co-host continues to overthink himself into trouble.